In terms of just the beginning or starting point, we talk about having a theory of second language acquisition, or basically a philosophy of how people learn language. What's the best way, and what's the best way to learn a language? And we have a lot of classroom practices that we're familiar with that all of us have experienced when we've studied foreign languages before. Most teachers of ESL were usually very interested in studying foreign languages themselves, and that's kind of what got them into the field. But we all kind of have this image in our mind of what the language learning classroom, second language learning classroom looks like. But if you back that up into that the teacher had some kind of method to the madness, and then a theory, which means, research behind all of these activities, research as to how the brain learns a language, how we remember things, and how we store two different languages in our brain, our first language and then this foreign language, then there have to be theories behind all this, research-based, and that's what we want to look at, in a course like this. And then the theory of how people learn foreign languages or second languages works its way into different methods, which is a little more specific as a course actually gets designed, where you have these methods, and then that leads to classroom activities. So you kind of hear the approach, design, procedure description, which is theory, method, activities. Approach is another way to say theories. A little looser feeling, like approach sounds a little looser than like theory, but it's the same concept. And then design is a good synonym, I think, for having a method, and then procedure. And so we want to make sure that, whatever we do in the classroom, it's not like every activity we really know the research behind it. A lot of it's intuitive and just something that we were trained in, feeling like this will work. But, if the students question what you're doing, or if parents of younger students question you, or if it's school administration questions what you're doing in the classroom, it's nice to say, that you've done your homework, and according to research, people learn by communicating or having real communication or collaborating with others, having tasks, meaningful tasks, and, always trying to get away from the rote memorization and drills over and over again, kind of behavioristic model of learning, which a lot of traditional cultures still have that memorization method just in general for learning. So sometimes they think these communicative teaching methods for ESL are not really founded in what's really going to work. And so we want to really have that background. The classroom there's so many different type of situations, because the students could be children, they could be teenagers, they could be adults. The students might be in their home country taking an EFL class. They might be immigrants. And they might be learning English for different motivations, like just for college or the job, or maybe they want to travel or something like that. So the students have different ages, motivations. Also, English classes have such different schedules. For example, you might take an English class intensively, so that every day you're studying a few hours, 4 or 5 hours a day, especially if you're living abroad. Or it might just be one of your classes in high school that you visit once a week, and it's just one of the many classes you're taking. So there's very different considerations in terms of the country you're in, motivation, the age, that tie into how this course this English class is going to be developed, that you're putting together. And then that leads to another point of the different activities you're doing in the classroom, like teacher-centered classroom, where the teacher's lecturing and giving information, or like a student-centered classroom, where the students are working, in groups a lot. And such a different type of classroom, and not to mention, presentations that the students will be putting together, group presentations, field trips, or maybe they're doing some sort of scavenger hunt outside the classroom. So it allows a lot of that flexibility. In addition to what can they do for homework? What can they do on their computer? Do they have language laboratories and computer laboratories? So in terms of how the student can use his or her free time, that's another thing we kind of want to set them up for in this situation. So that's kind of the general approach to what we're trying to do here as we consider all these things.